Welcome to Kelly Rene Everyday, where I'm here dedicated to teaching you the fundamentals of crochet through beginner-friendly projects like we see here. Today, I am excited to share with you the Morning Mist Scarf. This scarf is very beginner-friendly as it only uses 2 fundamental stitches with a slight modification to create these beautiful raised ribs. This is a very dense fabric, so it's going to keep you super warm, and the beautiful color effect that we see here is achieved by actually holding 2 yarns together. So I'll show you exactly how to do that. Now, if you find that this video is helpful and you enjoy the content here, I encourage you to give this video a like, but then also subscribe so that you can get updates when I continue to post future videos. Now, I think that's all that I wanted to say. So we're ready to get into the supplies. So as I said, we are going to be holding 2 yarns together. The 2 yarns that I used for this project were Lion Brand Heartland yarn. And this happens to be a 4 medium weight yarn. On this skein, there are 251 yards, and you are going to need a total of 4 skeins. Now, additionally, the other yarn is going to be the Yarnspirations Caron Latte Cakes, and this is in a solid color. This is cream. Now, on this ball, or this, I think they call it a ball. No, they call it a cake. They call it a cake. This is, let me see, a number 5 weight yarn. And I don't think the actual thickness of the yarn is 5 weight. I think it's definitely closer to a 4, but it has this haloing effect that makes it super soft and really luxurious feeling on the skin when you wear it. On this particular cake, there are 530 yards or 485 meters, and you're going to need 2 of these. Now, in addition to the yarn, you're going to need a crochet hook. This is an L11 or an 8mm hook. And then, just as in other projects, you're going to need a scissors, a yarn needle to weave in your ends. And then on this particular project, because we're going to be adding tassels, and I'm going to be showing you that as well, you're going to need something that is like substantial to wind your yarn around, and this is 7 inches tall to achieve the size of the tassels that I have here. So I'll be showing you exactly how to use that and how to use this items to achieve that. Lastly, I have one other supply that I use, definitely not a must-have, but if you have a bowl laying around, or in this case, this is a Tupperware, that's a bowl, this works perfect for putting your yarn in, and so it doesn't roll all around when you're grabbing extra yarn off of your skeins or your cakes. And I'll link all of these supplies down below in the description, but they can also be found on my website, kellyreneeveryday.com, where this free pattern is going to be as well. So with that, I think we're ready to officially get into things. Okay, so as we get started here, I just wanted to give you some dimensions. First of all, the width of the scarf that I'm going to be creating today is going to be 9.5 inches wide. This is customizable. I'll be giving you the multiple of the stitch in just a bit as we get into things so that you can either make that narrower or wider. The length of the scarf that I have here is about 5 feet long, so about 60 inches or so. And something I forgot to tell you in my supplies was that the color that I used here is called Congaree. It's like a bluish, like aqua color here. And I combined it with the latte cakes to create this kind of marbling, heathering effect of the colors here. Now, as we are looking at this really closely, you can kind of see that little fuzzy effect. The latte cakes creates that, and it makes it really nice and soft and really silky on your skin. So it's great for a wearable like a scarf that we see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my crochet hook and my yarn ready, and we are going to get started. Okay, so as we get started here, we're going to be holding our 2 strands of yarn together. And again, we're going to be using an 8mm hook because this makes, if you would, a more bulky strand with the 2 together. I'm going to now create a slip stitch, and I'm going to get my yarn on my hook. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to chain in multiples of 2 to create this ribbing effect that we see right here. It's actually 2 stitches in a row, so you are going to create the width of your scarf to be in multiples of 2. So just an even number if you would. I am going to be chaining a total of 34. So my width is going to be 32 stitches or 32 chains, and then I'm going to be adding 2 on the end. So we would say that that's a 2 plus 2 multiple for this scarf. So again, the width is going to be in multiples of 2. So if you want it narrower, you're going to be less than what I'm going to be doing here. Or if you want it wider, you're going to be more than what I'm doing here. But you're just going to chain in an even number. So I'm going to get started by yarning over, pulling through the loop on my hook, and then continuing on until I get a total of 34 stitches. So I'm going to continue this off camera, and once I get to my 34 stitches, I'll be back to show you how to create our first row. Now that I have a total of 34 stitches, I am ready to start my first row. My first row is simply going to be putting a double crochet into the 3rd chain from my hook. So as I look here, the chain that my loop is coming out of is the 1st chain, not the loop on my hook, but it's the one that's here by my thumb. Then it's going to be the 2nd one, and I'm going to go to the 3rd chain in order to start my first double crochet. Now, creating a double crochet is simply yarning over. We're going to go into that chain, yarn over again, pull up a loop. So we now have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over, we're going to pull through the first 2 loops. Remember, there's 2 strands on each loop. And then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. That's our first double crochet here. We're going to continue doing double crochets all the way to the end. So I'm going to do it again. Yarn over, go into my stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we're going to double crochet all the way to the very end of my chain, and I will be back to show you how we do our next row. Okay, so now I've got a double crochet in each one of my stitches along my chain. So I am now going to go to my next row, and to do that, I am simply going to chain 2, and this is how we're going to start each row. Chain 2, and then we're going to turn. Okay. Now, we are going to be performing from here on out the front post double crochet and the back post double crochet. Now, let's look a little bit at our stitch. Okay, I'm going to kind of take my hook out, and I'm going to pick up my yarn needle. And this is just going to be for pointing. So here's the chain that I created, and as we come down here, this is the first double crochet in this row, but it was the last double crochet that I created on the chain from the row before. So this is the first one. Now, as we look at a double crochet stitch, the top of the stitch is going to be here, and we always see those classic V's that are created at the top of a crochet stitch. It's kind of like, looks like a braid. And a lot of times we take our stitch and we go underneath here, underneath those two sides there, and we create our stitch. For the front post double crochet, we're gonna do something different. We are actually gonna skip this first double crochet, and we're gonna work with the 2nd double crochet here. Now, instead of going into the top of that double crochet, we are going to wrap around the post. The post is, this part of our stitch. It's the tall part right here. Okay, so down below where we would normally go into the stitch, this is the post right here. So we are going to be wrapping around that post, and to do a front post double crochet, okay, what we're going to do is we are going to yarn over just like we would on a double crochet. We're going to go in on the left hand side, so we're going to go in between the 1st and the 2nd double crochets, but down below where we were going for the stitch, we're going to go around the post. We're going to go front to back, and then we're going to wrap around, and we're going to come back up to the front. So basically this post is on the front of my hook. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and now I've got my 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's a front post double crochet. The next one that we're going to do then is we're going to alternate. Now we're going to do a back post double crochet. So we started just like we would, yarn over for a double crochet, but now it's a back post. So that means I'm going to be going to the back of the yarn, and I'm going to be coming in between, and then I'm going to go back again, and now I'm going to pull up my loop. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay, and now notice that that kind of pushed it to the back. That was a back post. So let's go back. We're going to keep alternating between these 2 stitches. So I'll do a couple more here for you. So yarn over. The next one we're going to do is going to be back to the front post. So we're going to start from the front and go back. So here's my post right here, and I've got these 2 sides to it. So I'm going to go from the front to the back and then wrap around and come back to the front. Okay, so basically I'm just going in between on the post here. I'm going to yarn over, pull up my loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So front post, back to the front post. So every other stitch here. We're going to keep alternating. Let's do a back post again. Yarn over. I'm going to start from the back and come forward, and then I'm going to go into the back again around the post. I'm going to yarn over, pull up my loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, let's do another set. Yarn over, I'm going back to the front post. So I find my post, which is right here, and now I'm going to go from the back to the front. From the front to the back, and then back to front. And then yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So the only difference here is we're doing a double crochet, but we're just not going into the top of the stitch. We're going around the post, and whether we're going from the front to the back or the back to the front, it's called a front or a back. So yarn over. Now we're going back to the back post. So that means I'm going to come from the back and come forward, go past that post, go back into the back. Okay, so basically I've got that post right here on my hook. Yarn over, pull through, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then I'm going to go back to the front. So yarn over, go from the front to the back, back to the front, pull up that loop, through 2, and through 2. And then again, from the back to the front around the post, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, through 2, and through 2. Now, what we end up getting here then is this ribbed texture. So we've got this front post that's coming forward, front post coming forward, and we see those at the top here. And then the ones that are back are the back post ones. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to continue doing that same alternating front post double crochet to back post double crochet all the way to the end. And I'm going to catch up with you when we are getting just to the last couple bits here, and I'm going to show you how to end this row and how to start the next one. Okay, now I'm here. I've got just a couple stitches at the end here. So I just did a front post double crochet, and I've got 1, 2 double crochets left, and then this is my turning chain. So since I just did a front post double crochet, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. So yarn over, back to front, yarn over, pull up my loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And now I've got one more double crochet here to do. And since this last one was a back post, I'm going to do a front post on this last one. Now, whenever we're starting a row, if we're starting with a front post, we're going to end with a front post. If we're starting with a back post, we're going to end with a back post, okay? Now, there is one more thing to do when we get to the end here. So here's my front post, was my last one in the stitch of the alternatings, but now I'm going to do a half double crochet into this chain on the very end. And this is what's going to end the row and ensure that we have nice stitches. So I'm going to yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. So just a half double crochet on the end. And then I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to turn to do my next row. Okay, so now I have my first row done. The second row. So the first row was our double crochets, second row was this alternating pattern, and now the third and fourth rows are going to be our 2-row repeat. Now, as we look here, we're going to notice that, and it might not be as easy as it is, you know, in person, but what I have here is, as I look, this first crochet stitch is, as I look at it, it would look like a back post because it's set back. It's actually, it was a front post on the other side, so we can see that there, but now it's a back post here. So that means that I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to do a back post double crochet around the first post here. This was my turning chain. We do not crochet around that. That's the edge. So this one is going to be the one that I go around. So back post double crochet, I'm going to go from the back to the front and then back again, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through two, pull through two. Now I've got here a front post that's looking at me because it's protruding forward. I'm going to yarn over. This one's going to be a front post, and I'm going to go front to back, front again, yarn over, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through two, pull through two. And then I'm going to go back to back post because it's set back. I can see that it's into my screen, and if I turn it over, we're going to see it protruding out there. So yarn over, back post double crochet means I'm coming from the back to the front around the post and then back again. Okay, yarn over, pull through two, and pull through two. And then we're going to keep alternating. So now you don't even have to worry about counting. If it's a front, if it's a forward post, if you would, that's going to be a front post double crochet. If it's a backward post or a set back post, it's going to be a back post double crochet, and you continue that all the way down the line. Okay, so I'll do one more set, yarn over, front post, because this is the one that's coming forward, and then back post. And you start to get kind of in a rhythm of doing this, and you don't even have to count anymore. I will meet up with you at the end of this row, and I'll get you started on the next row so that you can continue. Okay, I'm down to my last couple stitches here. I just did a back post double crochet, so I've got a front post because this one is coming forward. So I'm going to put that one around. And then my very last one is set back, so I'm going to do a back post double crochet for my last double crochet in this row. Now I started this row on a back post, I'm ending on a back post. One more thing to do on every one of our rows, we're going to do a half double crochet into the turning chain. So yarn over, and just, you know, it's really doesn't have to be super accurate, just somewhere into that chain. Sometimes it takes a little bit of convincing because chains can get a little tight, but you're just going to go into that chain, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all three on my hook, and that ends that row. Again, don't forget to end on your half double crochet. Now you're going to chain two just like we did on the last one, and we're going to turn. And now we're going to continue that same pattern. The last stitch on our last row was a back post double crochet, so you're going to notice that it's coming forward right here, so that means I'm going to do a front post on this one. And by starting with a front post on row number 4, I'm going to end on a front post. And then row number 5 is going to be repeating row number 3. So I'll start on a back post. So you continue to alternate. Now, what that does for us, and you can see it kind of being created here, but you can see it even better on the scarf itself. You can see these deep ribs that are created, and it's such a nice, dense fabric. And like I said, it's very cozy and very soft. Now you're going to continue this until you get the desired length of the scarf that you want. And then you're going to be ready to finish it off and add the tassels, which I'll show you next. All right, so now we're ready to look at our tassels. So the tassels, I thought, made a really nice touch, but they truly are completely optional. So I have, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tassels across the bottom of my scarf. So I'm going to show you how I created these in the size that I have. So I just found something that was kind of rigid. You can certainly make this if you want to. And the size that this is, I just need something to wrap around. So you could cut a piece of cardboard if you wanted to. But this is 7 inches long, okay? And I'm going to use the height of this to wrap my yarn around for my tassels. So I'm going to start with my Heartland yarn. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold with my thumb here lightly, and I'm going to wrap around 6 times. So I'm going to start at the bottom here because this is going to be my open end. And I'm just going to go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I am not pulling this tight. I'm doing it very loose. So now I'm going to have this one here, and I'm going to cut my yarn on the back side here. Okay, so it's about that long. Let me see. Come on. There we go. Okay, so I've got those on there. Now I'm also going to wrap then 6 more times with my latte cakes, where if I can find the end here. There it is. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the back side here. Okay, so now what I have is, if you would, these wrapped around there. I'm going to take the top off of here. This is going to be the top, okay, so that where these hang down and I have my cuts is going to be the bottom. Now I have this as a loop here. What I'm going to do is I am going to find where I want to place this on my scarf. So I'm going to put it into my sample, but you would make this, long. And I'm going to start by going into the end of my scarf. So the very last loop here on one end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my crochet hook. I'm going to go in to the stitch, and then I'm going to hook around, and I'm going to pull that through so it comes through cleanly. Okay. And then now what I'm going to do is I am going to pull my crochet hook out, create a nice big loop like this. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this through. I think that's also called a slip knot. And then I'm just going to snug this down, not super duper tight, but you want to make sure that you get it so that all the strands are nice and even and make a nice little knot there. And then once you have that in place, I like to cut after I have this on my scarf. So I'm going to cut that so that they're all the same length, and then any extras if I need to. Looks like this one I didn't get, which is okay. And then you can do another final snip if you end up having, 1 or 2 that are a little bit longer. So that's going to be my first tassel. Now, how I placed my tassels was, the process I used is I did one on this end, one on this end. Then I found the middle, and I put one right in the middle, and then I split between those two. So you're gonna notice how I got them to be spaced. I wasn't super exact on any one of the stitches. You could count the stitches and make sure you get in the middle, but I just went end to end, middle, and then between and between. And then that was it. I finished it off. So thank you so much for sticking around. That is the end of my tutorial. If you would like the written pattern, you can go to my website, Kelly Rene Everyday. I've got a ton of other ones, other patterns there as well. But here on this channel, you're going to see a number of beginner-friendly projects that are going to get you started and make some beautiful things as you're a beginner crocheter. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.